under 11 hours and 55 minutes to go. It's sensual overload on the mountain. It's the most perilous lap of the entire motor racing. Oh no, dramas. The Bentley's gone!
Black flag, car 21, black flag.
Oh, there's been a big shot contact between the two AMGs.
Well, New South Wales is our host once again for one of the world's fastest growing motorsport events. It is Australia's International Endurance Race, and if we come inland from Sydney, about 3 hours drive northwest, we find Bathurst, the magnificent city, the oldest settlement in the country, and just outside town, Mount Panorama, this famous racecourse, famous right around the world. It's great to have your company. Hi everyone, I'm Mark Beretta. Thanks for joining us for the 2019 Liqui Moly Bathurst 12-hour race. We have some great teams here, some incredible drivers, and some of the world's best have joined us once again. The man who has one of the best jobs in the world, he gets to follow this right around the globe. John Hindhoff joins us once again in commentary. John, great to see you. Welcome back. Give us a feel for how this race sits in the international scene.
It's massive. It's massive now. You can talk about Bathurst in the same breath as Daytona, where me and 22 plus drivers and half of our commentary team seem to have travelled round from. It's a place that is just iconic, it's eye-catching, and people want to come here. And when drivers, whether I'm at the Nürburgring at Le Mans, say to me, Hindhoff, you get really excited about Bathurst, can it really be that good? I say, no. It's much better than that.
John, we love it when you get excited about it. We're looking forward to a great weekend of racing. But it all starts today with the Pirelli Top 10 Shootout. Now, a lot has been happening in qualifying a little bit earlier on. It was so tight. So let's go up now and join Johnny Palmer and Richard Crail to catch up with all the latest. Gentlemen?
Thanks, Barretts. It's been an extraordinary day at Mount Panorama, the closest ever qualifying session for the Liqui Moly Bathurst 12-hour. JP, some drivers left it right to the very end as well.
And we have an incredible spread of manufacturers at the sharp end too. But yeah, this session, natural crescendo, and it really did provide tremendous entertainment for the best part of an hour. The Bentleys are back, brand new Bentley. Sadly, really bad luck for young man Matt Parry from the UK, slamming his Aston Martin into the concrete at the top of the mountain, and that did a corner immediately at the end of session. Mercedes took a while to get there, but there's now going to be 3 of the big AMGs in the top 4 and therefore in the top 10 shootout. And there's the Aston Martin that nobody expected to be so quick. Jake Dennis, a tremendous time from him.
Was right at the very end of qualifying. He leapt his way to the top. There are 6 brands that progressed through to the Pirelli Shootout this afternoon, covered by less than 4/10 of a second. But some of the bigger stories are actually on page 2. The drivers that didn't make the shootout look down to 15th place. Last year's pole sitter Chaz Mostert, further back 19th and a second off the pace. The All-Star Triple 8 team have some work to do. To tell you more about how this session's going to play out, let's go down to the Pirelli Pit Lane Hub. Say good day to Chad Nailon.
Something new for this year's 12-hour, we have a touchscreen. Welcome to the Pirelli Pit Bunker, and this is really cool. Lots to talk about here. Things that'll be specifically for tomorrow, but let's just focus on qualifying for today, and we'll talk about tyres. All the teams have 48 Pirelli tyres for the entire weekend, but if you've made the top 10 shootout today, you do get an extra set. Now, what are we expecting to see in terms of lap time? Well, it was Chaz Mostert who took the pole award here last year with an incredible, a jaw-dropping 2:01.93. Now, let's give that some context. You think about supercars, the quickest lap ever here at Mount Panorama. We go back to 2017 when Scott McLaughlin did that incredible lap, a 2:03.8. Well, these cars are nearly going 2 whole seconds quicker. So what will we see today? Well, we haven't seen a 2:01 so far this weekend. I'm thinking it's probably going to be in the 2:02 for pole.
10 cars, 10 drivers, ultimately 10 laps to decide who gets the Alan Simonson Award. We've got 4 Mercedes AMGs, 2 Audis, 1 Aston Martin, a Bentley, a Nissan, and a Porsche, each with an elite driver. But no one has claimed the trophy twice. Today, Maro Engel is going to try and change that. But the 2014 pole winner will have to do battle with 9 drivers from 7 different countries. Can he get the pole? Well, the mountain will decide.
A huge shock and a big story to come out of qualifying, as Crailsey touched on. The dream team in car 888. Look at these names: Van Gisbergen, Whincup, Lowndes missed out on the top 10 shootout altogether. They only managed to finish 19th fastest in qualifying, so starting on the 10th row of the grid tomorrow, if any trio can make their way to the front from there, it is these guys. 15 Bathurst 1000 and 12-hour wins between them. Write them off at your peril.
Oh, we cannot wait to see Shane Van Gisbergen burst out of the pack tomorrow. Right now, though, it is all about the Pirelli Top 10 Shootout. The cars are out in the lane. We're back with the Pirelli Top 10 Shootout right after this.
Well, it must be real. It's happening. And we're on the telly and on the radio at the same time. I tell you what, just walking back up to the booth here, Crailsey, to coin one of your phrases, you could cut the air with a cricket stump.
Yeah, it's good.
There's tension down there. I've not seen anything like this for a long time.
Yeah,
Cars being taken apart, put back together again. There's a lot riding on this today.
There's a lot to play for, and we saw how important this session is in the preliminaries, in the qualifying we had earlier today, which, as I mentioned, the closest we've ever seen at this place in GT3 racing since this race became a staple on the GT calendar in 2011. I've never seen anything like it, and that fight to get in, the benchmark time was a 3:05 at one point, then it slowly got quicker and quicker, and all of a sudden you had to be doing a 2-minute 2.7 to get yourself into the shootout, and even then it wasn't a sure thing. It's that close, it's that competitive. One tiny little error on your one magic lap you get this afternoon, and that could be the difference between you being on pole position or starting this one on the 5th row of the grid.
And the other thing is these new Pirelli tyres, or these tyres that are new to this qualifying session for the Pirelli Top 10 Shootout, they are going to take a bit of time to come up, time that they simply don't have. And talking to a couple of drivers whilst I was waiting to go on there, they're saying there are cars that have a significant advantage as to how quick they can get heat into their tyres on that warm-up lap.
That's going to be crucial, isn't it, in terms of the fact that, you know, they literally have one warm-up lap where they're going to be shaking the car from left to right, desperate to try and get tyre temp up, and then it's time to go for it. Earlier on in the session, it wasn't quite like that. They had the luxury of potentially 2 warm-up laps if necessary, and that's the beauty of the Top 10 Shootout. The spotlight is on you, and you have to perform.
It really is magical, though, and it's got such a great history at this place for well over 30 years now for the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. It's only in its 3rd iteration at the Liqui Moly Bathurst 12-hour, but already we've seen some amazing chapters written. Tony Villander in 2017 in the Ferrari, Chaz Mostert last year holding out Kelvin van der Linde, who threw everything at it at the very end of that session, was just missed out by the smallest of margins, and it gave BMW pole. Remarkably, they're not even in the shootout this time around. 15th place for BMW Team Schnitzer. They've got some work to do. Hopefully they've got a better race car than they do one-lap pace car.
Well, John and I were at Daytona a week ago, and BMW didn't really feature in qualifying there in GTLM, and who won that race? BMW. So I just wonder whether the strategy has geared. Maybe they just knew they didn't have lap speed, but it's not about lap speed across a 12-hour race. It's about fuel consumption. It's about how well the tyre lasts over the stint. And it's about staying out of trouble as well. With safety cars always affecting this race, you've got to be in there heading into the final hour.
The green flag is in the air, and the 10th place qualifier rolls out onto the mountain. Pirelli Top 10's shootout is underway.
Every February, beautiful Bathurst and Mount Panorama plays host to the Liqui Moly Bathurst 12-hour race. It is a remarkable place to visit at any time. Australia's first inland settlement, home to 35,000, easy 3-hour drive out of Sydney. It is a beautiful location to come to and a great host city for us. All right, first car on the track. We're in the Pirelli Top 10 Shootout, so let's join Johnny Palmer, Richard Craill and John Hindhoff.
Oh, Barrett, there's something special about a Pirelli Top 10 Shootout in any category at this place. There's something really special about this place, isn't there? Mount Panorama, Bathurst, the iconic 6.213 kilometre circuit nestled on the edge of this great city. There are 23 corners. Some of them carry the most iconic names in the sport, both here and indeed around the world. One of the staples of this place is its elevation change. The gradient 1 in 6 in places, and it's more than 170 metres from the lowest point at Maguire's Murray's right up to the very top at McPhillamy Park. In the shootout, we'll be referring to sector times and intermediates. There are 3 splits to talk about, one at Reid Park, one at the Bentley Forest Elbow. The other's the control line, where you find out what that magic number is. Here's how they run in reverse order, 10 to 1, which means Nissan's GTR, car that's never been on pole here in this race, will run first with Alexander Imperatori behind the wheel. We've got AMG, Mercedes, Audi, Porsche and Aston Martin will run last to try and win the Alan Simonson Pole Trophy. Johnny Palmer's with me, but so too John Hindhoff. He's made his way up from pit lane. Godzilla's back on the mountain this year, JH. Imperatori's been fast, and now he gets a shot at the Pirelli Top 10 Shootout, the Alan Simonson Pole Award.
Godzilla back on the mountain, the sun is shining, and all is right with the world. Alex Imperatori gets the honour of going first for the KC Motor Group car. We've seen these guys at Le Mans running prototypes. It's great to see them back in the GT field. And this then, if you like, is the opening gambit. This is the lap, the marker that everyone is going to have to shoot for. Heading up towards the part of the track that is effectively like a street circuit through the Audi cutting right across to the inside of that red and white advertising on there. And now still climbing up the hill. Ollie Jarvis, he's come round from Daytona. He's watching this car. He broke the outright record at Daytona the last time he's in the car. What can his teammate do?
50.7 to the first sector, struggling with understeer at turn 2. The car did not want to turn through that corner. You could hear the Pirelli tyres scrabbling across the track surface as the 31-year-old Swiss driver got the car turned and finally got on the power, but struggling with the front end. Now the car's starting to generate some tyre temperature, but this was always going to be the talking point in this shootout with a brand new compound Pirelli tyre this weekend. How would they go over a one-lap dash? 32.5 across the middle, minute 23 into the lap. Here's the run home.
Big old squirm coming out of the Bentley elbow, but it's about the straight line speed now, down the Conrod straight and into the chase. So a few more corners to go, but these are some of the most important ones. The fastest corner in Australian motorsport, the right-hander hard on the brakes, and Imperatori looks to have the car well balanced. This was the car that just managed to sneak into the top 10, remember, so certainly a top 3 finish in the top 10 shootout would be awesome for the now Chinese-based Swiss driver. He's going to come out of Murray's and all over the curb again, and the time is a 2:04.19. That is solid from Alex Imperatori.
Now that is nowhere near what we saw in the previous sessions, Crailsey, but that's not a bad marker to put down there, given what we were talking about. The temperatures are slightly different, the sun's out, the air's not going to be helping that turbocharged engine in the GTR quite as much as it was. Of course, we don't know how that stacks up, but we will in a little while.
Well, Oliver Jarvis, now you know what it's like to watch a teammate do a qualifying lap. A bit nerve-wracking around here, isn't it?
Yeah, very nerve-wracking. Looked like we didn't quite get the front tyres up to temperature, but I guess it will be the same for everyone. But, really good job from Alex in Q2, and we'll have to see where we end up. But, we're currently P1, 3 purples. So, but I imagine we're going to see guys go quicker than that. But still, really pleased to be in the top 10 and just looking forward to tomorrow.
Ever the optimist. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Well, he's raced at Dubai in the 24 hours. He's been to Daytona twice in January, and now he's here at the mountain. That was Ollie Jarvis. Great to have him back here.
So up the hill goes Raffaele Marciello, a superstar 24-year-old from Italy who has been electrifying all weekend for Gruppa M Racing, team out of the Blancpain Asia GT Championship, bright yellow livery. They were the fastest car on Friday. They converted that into solid pace in qualifying to get themselves into the mix. 0.2 of a second faster to the first timing intermediate as this excitable Italian blazes across the top of Mount Panorama.
Remember, this is the car, the 6.2 litre front engine Mercedes. The AMG, we saw 3 of them in standard qualifying in the top 4 earlier on today. So Raffaele Marciello chasing it just a little bit more time if possible. And certainly he's been capable of that because has topped sessions earlier on in the week. That's a great exit out of the elbow this time as well. Almost scuffing the concrete, but a couple of inches give on the exit of that corner, heading for the chase now, John.
He's up, but not by much. But I suspect we'll be seeing that all the way till the last car running, because this is a game of inches, of fractions of seconds. As Marciello comes down into the chase, does he get his braking point right? Yes, he does. He nails the left-hander, and the 999 car is heading down towards the final left-hander under the Liqui Moly bridge. Now has just got Maguire Murray's to go through. Up onto the curb, straightens it out, across the line, he'll go to the top. He does go to the top, but what's the time? How about the 2:02.9? Solid? I think so.
Very solid. That's a benchmark to beat for everybody else. Terrific time. Lots of commitment across the top, but the first sector was where he made a big chunk of time because he got the tyres switched on early in the lap. Now it's the German, Christopher Haase, for Audi Sport Team Valvoline, a brand that's been on pole here 3 times, on the front row 5 times in the last 8 years. This is a brand that knows Mount Panorama. They love it, and they've had an enormous amount of success here. And this team has been going about their business very, very quietly all weekend, systematically working their way through their drivers, getting up to speed, fine-tuning their cars to the point where they've got 2 very well-balanced, well set up and sorted racing cars, and between them they've got 6 fantastic drivers. This German is one of them. He's been here a long time. He's heading up towards the top of Mount Panorama, which, John, is where the Audi R8 is famous for being unbelievably good.
Had a quick chat with Chris Renke in the pit lane before I came to the booth. Chris Renke is the head of Audi Sport Customer Racing. He's down to 2 bullets in the gun. Not happy about that. But he had a little contented smile between his ears and beneath the full beard that Chris has got. And I just fancy there's an air of quiet optimism. Not to say, well, maybe a little bit of hope with these guys. Right across the top. But he's not quite quick enough. 50.778 to the first split.
Yeah, lost a couple of tenths on the run up Mountain Straight, but I don't think they'll be too worried about that because this is the strong bit of the lap now for the Audi R8. Christopher Haase, already a winner this year in the Dubai 24 Hours, and that was a win for Audi too, so a cracking start to the year for the 4 Rings, and they'd love to carry it on this weekend at Bathurst. It's a 32.1, still not quick as the Marciello time then, lost, well over half a second in that sector, so we're bigging up the Audi over the top of the mountain. This has not been a great lap for Chris Haase.
Quicker than the Nissan across the top, but not the Mercedes AMG. So the traditional strengths of the Audi not quite working. They're very good under brakes. Nailed the apex there. Through the chase and down towards Maguire's turn. Should slot in between the 2 cars that have already run. But a promising start for this outfit. Audi so desperate to go back-to-back for the second time. Wild on corner exit at the final corner. The net result to 203.7. He's second.
Do you know what? I just think that he didn't have the heat in the tyres there, and that was what showed at the final corner. Maybe the Audi just a little bit lighter on its wear for the Pirellis. That could stand it much better in the race than it has here in the Pirelli Top 10 Shootout.
The Gruppa M AMG car survives the first hit, makes it good. It's a great lap from Raffaele Marciello, who really put in some commitment on top of the mountain.
That's true. It's a big gap to the others, so he did an amazing lap without any mistakes. So was mega to being in top now, but there's some more to come. So let's hope till the end that we are still in the lead after the shootout.
All right, best of luck.
Thank you.
3 down, 7 to go, and Haase pushing hard on his closing down lap. Almost put it in the wall. we still haven't got the headlines written. The Alan Simonson Paul Award for the Pirelli Top 10 Shootout continues from Mount Panorama. Well, what do you reckon, gentlemen? Top three now. We've seen the 10th down to 8th place qualifies through there. I'm impressed with that Marciello time. I think, Krilsey, what we've seen there is a car that was driven magnificently, not just on its fast lap, but crucially on the warming up lap to get those Pirellis happy.
I think his very excitable Italian driving style is playing to his advantage. He's got the car up and dancing around, so it's generating tyre temperature quicker, which in race conditions might not be ideal, but in one-lap qualifying, it's exactly what you want. Matt Campbell was able to do that. We'll see him soon in qualifying to get into the shootout. Out lap, bang, hot lap. Pit, save your tyres.
Well, also, yeah, save your tyres, but what he did earlier on was a great practice for this format of qualifying, wasn't it?
Good point.
Just to go out, do the business, and then back in again.
And don't forget, he had a little bit of a whoopsie when we thought he might have improved in that previous session. The team were all head in hands, but it all worked out in the end. It's Kelvin van der Linde next. Johnny, what about his driving style? I had a chat with him actually just before I came up, and he was the one that was saying he didn't think the Audi could work its tyres hard enough. So we're going to see him pushing really hard.
I think we will, and I think he will have actually learned a fair bit from the Haase lap as well, because clearly I think your point about the Pirellis not quite being up to operation temperature, because I mean Haase was really struggling through the dipper and the elbow as well.
But what we should say is this is a Pirelli race tyre. This is not a qualifying special. Pirelli have come with a new compound to the mountain this year that's been raced in a variety of series worldwide in the last 12 months. It's a more durable tyre. The teams have got fewer tyres to run through the whole race, so there will be double and possible triple stints. And that is strategy and tactics.
And Kelvin van der Linde pushing really hard on his outlap, as if he's on the qualifier, working to get that front tyre temp up. And again, you can hear it scraping across the bitumen through turn 2. So his strategy isn't to go slowly and weave left to right and get the brake on and off to generate that temperature through the brake rotors. His is just to go absolutely flat out. So let's see if this strategy works. And of course, everyone else in pit lane will be seeing if this is the way to go.
Yeah.
And if it is, they will all follow this.
Yeah, obviously the faster times, it gives you the advantage of gaining from other people's laps and learning from what they do rightly and wrongly. But I think just adding all the load on this lap may well up the temperature perfectly for the second of the Audis in the shootout.
Welcome back to the Liqui Moly Bathurst 12-hour Pirelli Top 10 Shootout is underway, and it's all happening. Christopher Haase is with me, hot out of the Audi at the moment. Christopher, not the lap you're hoping for in the Top 10 Shootout?
No, not so far, to be honest. Car felt actually pretty good, but for some reason we struggled a bit to get this tire peak for one lap. So I don't expect us on pole position at the moment, or let's say, yeah, but still, I mean, it's a 12-hour race, so it won't decide who's starting on the front. But yeah, car feels good so far. Let's see how it goes.
All right, well done. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
The sister Audi is out on track then. Warm-up lap done for Kelvin van der Linde, the man from South Africa, 22 years old. A big off, though, coming out of the first corner at Icebreak Hell's Corner. That's not the ideal start for the run up Mountain Straight then. Got to block that from your mind now and just concentrate on the Audi bridge where the road drops from beneath you. A little bit of adjustment there on the dashboard, I notice. And the revs are sky high as he wants them before then he gets onto the brake and heads through Griffin's Bend for the first time. Up against the wall, but there was a couple of inches still there to the cutting, the Audi cutting in this R8 LMS, 2018 spec machine, remember, and reaching now the highest points of the circuit, but it wasn't the best start to this lap, Crailsey.
A couple of valuable tenths lost at turn 1 and more than a couple, half a second down on the potential benchmark. Took a different approach in warming himself up for the shootout. His outlap was almost a shootout lap in itself. He went straight out of pit lane and straight to 10 tenths. So down the hill he plunges. This is the section where the Audi R8s have always been so good. traditionally a car with a lot of aerodynamic downforce, hurts their straight line speed, but through the high speed section at Mount Panorama, they are unbelievably strong. So he can claw back some time with a settled middle sector. He actually hasn't. The middle split wasn't that great either. The 22-year-old from Johannesburg's a couple of tenths down going down Conrod.
You've got the pictures in front of you. Watch carefully on the dashboard. Look how much the rev counter and those lights above the number 6. It's almost on the rev limiter from what? Halfway, 2/3 of the way down the Conrod Straight. They are revving that V10 to try and overcome the aerodynamics that Rich was talking about. That should give them better speed on the top of the mountain as he comes down the final left-hander. And Maguire's Marys, he's squirming around. That car does not want to go where he wants to put it. And Van der Linde 2:03.1.
Last sector, very good. Fastest of anybody so far. So it took him some time to get up to speed. When he did, he made up some ground and closed 5 tenths down to 2 at the end of that lap.
Garth, what did you think of that? Not a great start, but he certainly came home.
Yeah, obviously, running wide, exit the turn 1 probably cost us about 4 tenths up the run-up Mountain Straight, but the rest of the lap was mega, super fast across the top, fastest last sector. So he has a crack, the young fella, so it's good to watch.
Yeah, he certainly got some speed, a lot of confidence drawn from that.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a really good car. Car was really solid this morning in brace trim, which was my job. So looking forward to tomorrow, long race ahead. So, well, it's like the 1000. The shootout's enjoyable and you want to be up the front, but it's all about tomorrow.
Enjoy. Thanks.
The next car we get to see out on the track is the Bentley Continental, the new GT3, making its debut on the mountain this weekend. It's Stephen Kane, the 2001 McLaren Autosport Award winner, who will be taking this car around. He's finished second here, he's finished third, but he does not yet have that win. A pole position would be a great start for Bentley this weekend, and you might have seen the video a bit earlier on in the week of lightning hitting the side of the mountain. Well, Bentley brings the thunder.
There's something inherently right about this car. Its predecessor looked great. This one, dare I say, it looks even better. Up to destination New South Wales Bend. Griffin's Bend heading up the hill. Brian Gush, who's head of Bentley Motorsport, is here. The big South African, he wants to win this race. Malcolm Wilson was standing next to him just before the start of qualifying, and Matty Wilson, Malcolm's son and a decent driver in his own right, used to be a F3 teammate to Lewis Hamilton. They are all, fingers crossed, watching this at the moment as Bentley heads across the top of the mountain and the V8 is rumbling, but the stopwatch is not where they want it to be.
Only a fraction down at the first timing intermediate though, so that's a very good first sector for Stephen Kane. He qualified 9th in the Pirelli Shootout 12 months ago. Bentley have been in every shootout we've had at Mount Panorama for the Bathurst, 12 out and the top 10 every time they've raced here. Consistent performers. But as we heard from Shay, this is the first time they've had the brand new car. Middle sector not great. They've dropped half a second relative to the rivals around him. So at the moment, it's going to slot him into 3rd place. He needs to bring it home strong in this final sector through the chase.
But what I will say is that this sector, the final one, is just about the strongest for the Gen 2 Continental. So wide there for the Ulsterman, Stephen Kane, and it just dances around on the brakes. We've had almost a partial lock-up at times from Kane, and that's clearly how he likes the car to be set up for lap speed. Heading then towards the final corner, and what's the entry like? Pretty decent again. And just now on the exit of the corner, that was neat and tidy too. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the best sector so far. Not quite. He doesn't beat the Marciello final sector, but he goes second fastest in the 107 Bentley. And a round of applause for the M Sport crew.
Remember when we used to watch the onboards from overhead from Guy Smith and the paucity of movement? That was what we were seeing there from Stephen Kane. Just his fingertips on the steering wheel, caressing the Bentley, suggesting that it would go into the corners. That's a good lap, and the boys at M Sport and Bentley are happy.
They're very happy, John and Jordan. Your first time here to the mountain. Have you ever been so nervous watching a co-driver do a lap?
Yeah, up until now it's just been about learning everything and learning off my teammates especially, but standing here once, the whole goal, the first goal was to make it into the top 10, and Stephen did a fantastic job in qualifying to do it. And now watching, I think it was more nerve-wracking here than I think he was in the car, but he did a really good lap, clean lap. I think that's all we can do really in a one-lap shootout. but our strengths lie on long race, endurance, pace, and I think we'll be good tomorrow.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Next up, the first Australian in the shootout. It's the young man from Queensland, Matt Campbell. He was told on Thursday it will be his responsibility to qualify this car. He's been thinking about it all weekend. This garage is packed with people. Even Mark Webber's here to cheer on the young Queenslander.
And the pressure's on here because both Crailsey and I and Shea independently have tipped this lad for the Alan Simonson Trophy. And, well, we have been known to curse people in the past to the point where we normally don't say that. But this would be a very popular pole sitter, Crailsey.
So the 23-year-old from Warwick, Porsche Carrera Cup Australia champion of 2016, bounces the car out over the exit curb. It wasn't as bad as what we saw from Kelvin van der Linde, so won't have given up too much time in that little moment. Porsche have never been on pole position for this race. They've never been on the front row for this race. They've never won this race, but you can bet the brand that has won so much in major endurance racing all the way around the world for 5 decades plus desperately wants a Bathurst win. And can the young Queenslander, whose meteoric rise through the ranks in Australian motor racing resulted in a class win at the Le Mans 24-hour last year, could he be the one to help deliver Bathurst success to Porsche? The first split, solid, 2/10 down on that amazing first sector we saw from Raffaele Marciello. Solid start for car 912.
Really interesting approach from Matty Campbell, still warming the tyres up late on in the lap. Coming out of the chase, he was weaving left to right. Seems to have good grip, though, as he heads for the spares box cutting and the dipper, and then down towards the Bentley elbow then. And these corners are so crucial to a good lap, but the Bentley elbow possibly the most important. Again, leaving just a little bit on the table as far as the exit is concerned, and now the barrel run down Conrod Straight.
How was the change of direction on the run into the spares box dipper? This car pointing really well. They flew under the radar in Friday practice. They hovered outside the top 15, minding their own business. But in qualifying earlier today, Matt Campbell did a shootout simulation. He did an out lap, he did a hot lap, then he parked it. It got him 5th place. Can he replicate that and go better? His middle sector was the fastest of the session. The young Queenslander is on a very good lap. It's going to put him in the money somewhere. What's the net result? Matt Campbell, 4th. 4th place, 2:03.18. He's missed out by just 2/10 of a second. And like we saw in qualifying earlier today, it is so close.
Exceptional over the top of the mountain. And that was commitment from the young Queenslander. So at the moment, AMG leads it and is still provisionally got a hand at least on the Alan Simonson Trophy.
Well, Porsche bringing in the big guns to cheer on Matt Campbell this weekend. Mark Webber here watching. You've been keeping an eye on him for some time. How have you seen his progress?
Yeah, good. Matty's going well. You know, it's a big weekend for Porsche here. Obviously, I've got all the best drivers here. Obviously, Matty's one of those. So, yeah, top 10 is not the, be an end all in terms of position for the race. It's a long race, so see how we go.
Get the feeling Porsche are throwing everything at it this year. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, of course. I think all the manufacturers are giving it a red-hot go. It's a really important race, and yeah, Porsche, they are known to go to events and aim to win, of course. So they did a tremendous amount of winning last year and years gone by as well. Not in an arrogant way. We, clearly absolutely respect the opposition, but yeah, want to try and win tomorrow if they can, and yeah, they're all excited for the race.
Great to see you, Mark.
Cheers, Norris, thanks.
Well, coming up, the run to the pole position. Alan Simonson Trophy still to be awarded. AMG from Bentley, from Audi, from Porsche is how it stands. The mountain will decide next. There is a slight advantage that Porsche has here for the race, and we haven't really mentioned this much because we're in qualifying trim at the moment, which is head down, turn it up to 11, no nonsense boogie, and that is all about fuel mileage, and that has not been talked about so much at the moment. It is a worry for all the other teams, had ifs, buts and ands, but the race carried on last year, they probably would have cleaned up the podium, Krilsey.
We've just seen Matt Campbell, and he was in the car that most people that followed that race closely and had smoke pouring off of calculators trying to work out the fuel strategy, he was in the car that probably would have won it, but they didn't. Audi won the race, so it's a clean sheet of paper this year. Gee, it was a good lap, though, from Campbell. Good middle sector, the fastest of anybody so far in this session. Raffaele Marciello, though, quickest up the hill. Campbell fastest across the top. And Stephen Kane in the Bentley, his final sector of that lap. He found 0.3 of a second there alone to drag himself back into contention. But to be half a second down at the exit of the Bentley elbow and get within 0.17 of pole shows how these cars are producing their speed in different bits of the road.
Which is why we love sports car racing. Calvin von der Linde started off not great, but you could see the tyres were getting better right the way through the stint. And by the time he got to the chase, Johnny, that was good. He looked much better than Christopher Haase in that part of the track, who was a little more conservative in his warm-up lap.
Yeah, and that was a learning process, I think, just from the team will have observed what Haase was doing and communicated that maybe to van der Linde just for a slightly different approach. But I was fascinated by Matty Campbell because, you know, the concentration was purely on just changing direction and building heat in that regard rather than going at full qualifying speed, which is what both the Audis did. And again, it's the same approach here from the number 19 Mercedes, Jelmer Berman, spending much more time on the brakes to try and get that temperature out of the discs, out of the rotors and into the tyre that way. And also the change of direction in a hope that the Pirellis will heat up to a good temperature. But I mean, I like the fact that it's now a slightly harder compound. It's the same for all, and you've got to work a little bit harder to get that pole position.
Yeah, use a bit of brain as well as a bit of right foot and try and get those temps and pressures up on the Pirellis. It'll be Jelmer Berman who has a go to see if he can take the Alan Simonsen Trophy as we head into the second half of the Pirelli Top 10 Shootout. We're at Mount Panorama, live, trackside. And this is going to get even more exciting from now on. Don't go anywhere. Take a deep breath and settle in for this.
AFL Women's is back. A huge Saturday doubleheader kicks off the season. The Pies welcome the Cats to the league. Then, a full-strength Crows host the reigning premiers.
Perfect!
AFL Women's is back tonight on 7.
A big weekend for AFL Women's and a big weekend here at the Liqui Moly Bathurst 12 hour. And of course, you're watching the Pirelli Top 10 Shootout right now. That is the car to beat at the moment. The 999 Mercedes-Benz AMG GT3. Benz has the lead. Let's go down to Alex Hart in pit lane.
What a great story this is. Mark Griffiths Pro-Am AMG, Jelmer Berman in the driver's seat. His co-driver, Christina Nielsen, will actually be presenting the Alan Simonsen Trophy to the pole sitters shortly. The late Danish driver was a great mentor of hers, a very close family friend, and told she was in tears when she was given this honour, and it will be an incredibly emotional moment if she is able to present the trophy to her teammate.
Thanks, Alex. It's a terrific story. Christina, in her own right, a very successful racing car driver now, double champion in US sports car racing, the first female to do so in 50 years of competition over there. Made a very successful name for herself. She joins with Mark Griffith and Jelmer Berman in the Mercedes AMG Team 19 entry. Yes, they're a Pro-Am class contender, which means they've got 2 fully professional drivers and 1 who does it more for fun than a professional career. But this is a car that can still qualify on pole, can certainly still have a go at winning the motor race. And the Dutchman is behind the wheel. He's 3/10 down at the first timing intermediate at Reed Park. Time to be found, but it can be found, and we've seen that already in this shootout.
Well, Marciello in another AMG, the bright yellow Manfilter car, was 0.4 of a second slower than Stephen Kane's effort earlier on, but the fastest car so far across the top of the mountain, Matt Campbell, a 31.4 through the middle sector. So let's see what Jelmer Berman can do this time. This car took a little while to get to the sharp end in standard qualifying earlier on today, and it's a 32 dead, so that's 6/10 lost compared to Matt Campbell's middle sector time.
Gentlemen, I have to say, this is not how I envisaged this going. I love this. all the drivers I spoke to, Cal van der Linde in particular, said we need more shootouts because it messes things up a bit. And it's also the fact that they enjoy it. They're on low fuel, they get a brand new set of Pirelli tyres, and they are allowed on their own to go for it. No traffic to get in the way, but this is not, I think, how anybody was expecting this. We should be seeing cars getting faster, surely, as we get towards the lower numbers in the previous qualifying session. Across the line, Berman only good enough for 5th position. Christina Nielsen and the rest of the team seem happy enough, but I am shocked he wasn't quicker than that after what we saw in the earlier session.
What did you think of that, Christina?
I think he did an awesome job. It's definitely a tricky place, and it's it's our first time here. Margaret's been here a couple of times, so for the first time here, I'm very impressed.
Tell us about the honour of presenting this trophy in just a couple of moments' time.
Yeah, you know, like I definitely had a tear rolling down my cheek when I got the news. I'm extremely honoured. It's you know, he's a close friend of the family. My dad co-drove with him. I co-drove with him. This place meant a lot to him. I know he always said if Australia wasn't so far away from everything, this is where he wanted to live. So it's a pleasure being here and an honour getting to hand over the trophy.
Enjoy the moment and enjoy your time here. Thanks, Christina.
Thank you.
Next up in the Pirelli Top 10 Shootout, car number 77, the Black Falcon Mercedes-Benz AMG GT3. Behind the wheel, no stranger to us here at Mount Panorama, Murrow Engel, factory AMG driver, was here in the Supercars series for a number of years and knows this mountain and this car both inside out.
He sure does, Spiretz. A few infamous moments at this place as well back in 2017, a well-documented ending to that motor race. He's a former Alan Simonson pole position winner. In fact, he was the first in 2014. There wasn't a dry eye in the house that year when, after getting pole, he and then team owner, he was driving for Erebus Motorsport, Betty Clemenco, walked the trophy down to Alan's old team at Maranello Motorsport. It was still pretty raw. That was only 8 months after Alan passed away in a crash at the Le Mans 24-hour. So it's a great story. Murrow Engel is such a fast driver. He's a winner in the DTM. He's an FIA GT world champion on the Macau Street circuit. Knows this place backwards. Very good to have him back, and it's a very good first sector. Almost a 1/10 of a second up on Raffaele Marciello.
See, that's better. The script writers have woken up a little bit. This is how it's supposed to happen as you progress up the top 10. Things are supposed to get quicker. It's just like bobsleigh or downhill skiing. The top guys, the guys who've been quicker in the earlier sessions, get to go last. And here is the number 77 AMG GT3. Heading down now into the Bentley elbow. How close will he be to the wall on the outside? No, there was room. There was room there. He pinched it back in. Now, heading down under the VW Amarok V6 bridge into the fastest corner on the circuit.
Here comes the man from Munich then, Murrow Engel, about to get to the very, very fast right-hander at the chase. Is there a hint of a lift? Not at all, and now he hits the brakes in the 77 Mercedes. This looks very, very neat and tidy indeed. There's a little bit of movement on braking. The treble 8 Mercedes with the Supercars champions in have struggled with understeer all weekend. There doesn't seem to be the problem with the 77 then. And what time is he going to take? It's to second position for Murrow Engel and misses out on the provisional pole time by a 1/10 of a second. Great effort though from the German.
That puts him provisionally on the front row in the darkness. Tomorrow morning he slaps the steering wheel with the back of his right hand. He thinks that time was out there, Crilsey. He thought, I'm sure, that he could have done a tiny bit better. Dare I say he was a bit conservative. Am I saying I could do any better? Absolutely not. But there was daylight between the side of the AMG and the walls in several places.
Gary Pafford, big cheer here in the garage, and Murrow looked very happy in the car. That's a great result.
Yeah, it is. I mean, yeah, you always want to be on pole, so we're not pole at the moment, but we're near the front. The car's looking great. You know, we're all three of us, me, Mara and Luke, all feeling good, so really looking forward to the race.
That was a good-looking lap, and the car looked incredibly stable.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, the car looks good, and I think he would have felt he left some time out there somewhere, which is good. It means there's a lot of pace in the car, so yeah, feeling pretty confident.
All right, good start. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Cheers.
From Murrow to, well, these guys down here in the other AMG garage. Marciello, this was a fantastic lap from Raffaele earlier. You just have 2 more cars to survive. How are you feeling now?
I mean, it's already good to be in this position now. attend the races tomorrow. So, I mean, it would be nice to be on pole, but we are in a good position for tomorrow's race. So I will go. I'm happy, and we will see tomorrow.
He's looking cool right now, and here comes another very, very fast AMG.
777, the Bend Motorsport Park, proudly on the front of that car. Erebus back at the mountain. AMG, the three-pointed star. Will all of those facts align for David Reynolds, heading up Mountain Straight on his flying lap? He was pretty nifty on the warm-up lap, and we'll find out very quickly as he goes through Griffin's Bend, destination New South Wales Bend, and heads up towards the Audi cutting. Car looks good. Reynolds was absolutely sparkling in the earlier session. Remember, this is nominally a Pro-Am car, but the stopwatch doesn't know that right now because it's got a very pro driver and a very fast driver in it. He's about a 10th down as he's on the top of the mountain.
Close, very close indeed for David Reynolds. Can he have back-to-back Bathurst poles? He was on pole for the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000 last October in an Erebus Motorsport Commodore. This time it's a Mercedes AMG. He's got 2 previous poles in the October Classic. Has not got one in this race. He's always fast. He's always great fun to watch. It's been a very smooth, very controlled lap. Possibly too controlled. Just dropped another 2/10 in the middle sector of this one. Erebus Motorsport, the Bend Motorsport Park. It's a great combination with Luke Yulden and Yasser Shahim to co-drive this weekend.
Knows this format of qualifying so well, of course, from his several supercars campaigns. 4 wins in last year's championship, 1 in 2017, but it was the big one here for the 1000 Ks with teammate Luke Yulden. Let's see what he can do then. Great exit out of the chase and heading now towards Maguire's corner. Just a question of being as late as he dares on the brakes. Quick turn in there. Definite pointy movement from Davey Reynolds, and he goes across the line to post a 4th fastest time. So it's a 2:03.1, and the margins are so tight. We're talking Reynolds between the two, just 0.6 of a second to Stephen Kane's time.
Well, Luke Yulden, that was pretty exciting to watch your co-driver going fast around the mountain. Since you got to do it a bit earlier, you happy with where he qualified?
Yeah, he's a little bit disappointed. We talked about turn 1 and we probably just didn't quite get a clean enough run through there. He did a very good, obviously, 2nd sector and 3rd sector, but yeah, he's a bit of a master of the shootout, so he's used to being on pole, so he might be a little bit disappointed with that, but we're happy to be in the 10. Obviously it's a long race, and yeah, we'll stick it to him tomorrow.
Good luck.
Thank you.
1 car remains in the Pirelli top 10 shootout, the R-Sport Aston Martin. This car will take a 2-spot group penalty for the race tomorrow for speeding in pit lane in qualifying, but they are free to fight for the Alan Simonson Trophy. That's the good news. The good news also gets better for their teammate. Check this car out. It found the wall in qualifying, and the good thing is it's just about got all the skin back on and ready to go. Structurally, this car has been repaired after finding the wall in qualifying. It's good to go once they put the panels on for the race, but can the Aston Martin snare pole late in the day?
Great news, Chad, about the 760. That was very badly beaten up when Matt Parry crashed at the top of the track, but they've been working incredibly hard. Jake Dennis again weaving from left to right between the Chase and Maguire's. And this car is incredibly fast down the tube, so watch out for a quick 1st sector time heading up Mountain Straight and towards the destination New South Wales Bend. A little bit late, maybe on turning there, but actually doesn't run too far wide. There's a bit of dust kicked up in Dennis's wake there, but he has been on such great form all weekend. This is one of the best sounding cars here this weekend as well. The swan song for the Aston Martin Vantage, with the AMR now being raced regularly, not eligible for this year's version of the Liqui Moly 12-hour though. Heading out then of the right-hand Griffin's Bend and now towards the Audi cutting. And this is where the track gets so narrow, but he's not intimidated at all, the man from Warwickshire in the UK, getting to the highest point on the circuit and nearing the end of the longest sector then. This will give us an indication of how quick the car's been up the hill. It's the fastest we've seen so far. It's a 50.1 from Jake Dennis through sector 1.
A large intake of breath from me because he was so close to the walls there on both sides of the track. And Jake Dennis, whatever the situation with grid penalties, he's holding nothing back. This This is an extraordinary run by this young man. Hard to believe he's not been here before. He's driving this like a veteran down towards the Bentley elbow and through it. He's over a tenth of a second up in a session that has been decided by fractions. And he is driving away from this field as he comes down Conrad.
The margins are so small in this. If you're a tenth of a second off, you'll miss pole position. V12 shrieked through the chase. This has been an extraordinary story all weekend because they came from the clouds. We had no expectations on this entry. The Swiss team R Motorsport have delivered with one of the best sounding cars in the paddock. Can the rookie at Bathurst go to pole position? Nothing in it. It's close. He's got it. The Alan Simonson pole award goes to Aston Martin. 2:02.4, 4/10 of a second. He has absolutely smashed them.
Absolutely blown them away. 4/10 between first and second. The next 4/10, Johnny, I can see you doing the arithmetic in your head, covers how many cars?
Goodness knows.
Almost the whole.
Yeah,
all of
pretty
the
much
top
everybody
10.
else, isn't it? I'm just trying to work out where he bought all that time because it wasn't the fastest Sector 3 time. That goes to Berman. Dennis quickest through one, Campbell over the top, and Berman through the third.
Fantastic celebrations down here at the R Motorsport team. We'll grab a word with Marvin. They're just putting the word out to their driver right now. Fantastic lap. So much commitment to get that, and from a rookie as well. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. He just did an awesome job. I think you saw the lap was just perfect. So a lot of respect to him. Teamwork to everyone. Everyone worked well. So yeah, let's get the race started tomorrow.
Perfect place to start for tomorrow.
Yeah, it's good. It will be a long race, but first we achieved this in quali. So I'd say it's really good for us. It's a positive point, and everyone will be positive for the race now. So, but we need to be focused for the race. But yeah, it's a good start.
It'd be a fantastic way to say goodbye to this current generation Aston Martin as well.
Yeah, it's a nice goodbye. But again, one more time, we need to finish this race on the good way. So yeah, but it's a positive thing, and congrats to Jay because he did a perfect lap.
Go and celebrate.
Thank you.
Perfect lap. And the young man from the very centre of England, right in the middle of Motorsport Valley, the carbon fibre triangle from Warwickshire. Well, he has set this place alight all weekend. 4/10 the difference, and the next 4/10 covers 6 cars, 7 cars. Extraordinary stuff. The Alan Simonson Trophy awaits. Krilsey, that was special.
The most extraordinary thing for me was that he all but matched exactly the time he set in proper qualifying at the end of a long run to get into the shootout in the first place. He missed it by 8/100ths of a second. So to replicate that over one lap with just one warm-up is an incredible performance. It's the first pole for Aston Martin in this race. It's the first pole for any of the drivers in this team in this race. It's the first pole for the team in the Liqui Moly Bathurst 12-hour and the Alan Simonson pole trophy. He drove some Aston Martins in his time, did Al.
Yeah.
He'll like this one. This means a lot. Look at the celebrations from this team from Switzerland, who have got some support from UK operators as well. What a story. Aston Martin on pole at the mountain. The farewell to the V12 has started very well.
Arden Motorsport and Jota Sport, two big names from actually the area of the country where Jake is from, particularly in Arden's case. Jota a little bit further to the east, but my goodness me, that's going to be a celebration. What a shame that you have to get up so early. You can't have a big party for the pole position. Oh my goodness me, that's an extraordinary run. Let's confirm it then. Look at the gap. Look at the gap. Aston Martin over AMG. 4.5 of a second, and a Pro-Am car, Krilsey, in second position.
Yeah, great story for car 999. Gruppa M Racing have been fast across every session. The two Maxis, Book and Goetz, and Rafa Marciello, who did that time, it stood up for almost the entire Pirelli shootout, JP. Couldn't quite bring it home.
Well, we were keeping an eye on Lello's face, weren't we? Wondering whether he's going to hang on to pole position or not. He won't be too badly affected by that, I'm sure. 0.4 of a second, slightly worrying on single lap speed, but there's plenty more racing to come yet. The Mercedes look strong, don't they? And there's a Bentley in fourth position as well.
crazy story. This is another chapter at Mount Panorama that just continues to deliver. And a young man that before this we didn't know is on pole. He's with Barrett's.
Well, Jake Dennis, congratulations. What an amazing lap. Well done.
Yeah, unbelievable. It looked tough out there from watching the other guys, and I knew if I put a clean lap together, we'd have a good chance. And the car was, again, another step from Q2. The car, what our motorsport gave me was just unbelievable. It was so strong, and all I had to do was drive fast, clean, and yeah, when I crossed the line, I did a 2:02.5, and but I had no idea if it was enough. I didn't ask what times the guys had done. Nathan came over the radio and said it was enough for pole, and yeah, my emotions got ahead of me, and I was so happy for not just myself but the whole team. First time here in Bathurst for us guys, and we came away with yeah, pole position.
And obviously no problems coming to grips with this track.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Great lap.
Thank you. No, not at all. Obviously, the first few sessions were a bit daunting for all of us, but once you get a good rhythm, good balance in the car, you can really build up some confidence. And yeah, the mountain section is just sensational. There's no track like it, and yeah, hopefully it definitely won't be my last time here, that's for sure.
Fantastic. We're glad to hear that. Of course, nice to start from pole position tomorrow, but a big race tomorrow also gives you confidence in the car and what you guys can achieve.
Yeah, for sure. We've had a really strong car, obviously all weekend, but we know our race car is still pretty strong. There's no reason why we can't take it to the big dogs. You know, we've put it on pole, we've got the pace, and it's a long 12 hours. It's a bit different here, these type of races. We need to be there on the last 2 hours of the race with a clean car, no damage, and then see where we're at on the last 2 hours of the race.
Excellent. Something I know will mean a lot to you guys now, the presentation of the Alan Simonson Trophy. Christina Nielsen to make that presentation along with our representatives from Pirelli. But gentlemen, congratulations. Pole position trophy, the Alan Simonson Trophy, which means a lot to us here. And I know you and the team will covet that and enjoy it. And congratulations. Have a great day tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let's go back upstairs to the boys.
Well, that is a bit of class, an absolute bit of class. And once again, the Pirelli Top 10 Shootout delivers exactly what it's meant to do.
Oh, it's great entertainment, isn't it? Let's have a look at how it all unfolded. Imperatori in the KCMG Nissan tried everything. I think everyone learnt a lesson off that car. Didn't get tyre temperature early, ended up 10th. This was an outstanding lap. Second car on the road, ended up second on the grid.
And that was all down to how aggressive he was on his warm-up lap, and people learned from that, Johnny.
Yeah, and Mercedes is a strong chassis this weekend as well, but Raffaele Marciello has topped sessions earlier on this week, so not really a surprise to see the Swiss-born Italian stick it on the front row, but he couldn't quite fend off the Aston Martin in the end. The treble 7, driven by Davey Reynolds, very impressive indeed. He knows his top 10 shootouts back to front. But Jake Dennis, an awesome performance. This is where he got all the time, and then the run back down to the start-finish straight. The heat haze in the wake of the Aston Martin, and there's the celebration from the Swiss squad, R Motorsport.
When people say being on pole, getting the fastest time in a 12-hour or 24-hour race doesn't matter, the team think it matters.
Oh, it does. The race has never been won from lower than 7th on the grid. You've got to be at the front. You've got to be in the front to be in the game. Aston Martin are that for the first time at Mount Panorama, and the team that we all just sort of breezed past on the entry list coming into the weekend have delivered one of the great laps in Liqui Moly Bathurst 12-hour history.
What do we know?
Well, David Reynolds, it wasn't a pole position for you in the shootout, but that doesn't mean much. It's a 12-hour race, right? You guys can still win this?
Yeah, exactly. Like, we've done a pretty good job as a team, and I feel like I'm driving like a bit of a gimp out there. I have no idea what I'm doing out there. So, no, all in all, it's been a great day.
I don't think you're a gimp out there, and Supercars don't think you are. You got the last one of the season, so clearly you're on a good momentum roll. Good luck tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks.
This is the car that will start from pole position, the 999 Mercedes-Benz AMG GT3. Chad Nolan, big day for them leading out the race tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, Brett. So they did such a good job in that qualifying session with Raffaele Marciello. Unfortunately for the Aston Martin team, they do have that 2 grid spot penalty. So they go to 3rd, and it's these guys who will start from the pole. And how exciting is the start of the 12-hour? Cannot wait to see the headlights.
Of course, it's live tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. We're on all day. You'll see it on 7, mate. Check your local guys. We look forward to having you back here for the Liqui Moly Bathurst 12-hour race. We will see you then.